you guys doing? So this is a question and answer section. This is where you can join my live and ask me specific questions about things that you don't really understand. This is your time to ask me those questions. And if you guys can hear me clearly in the background, please indicate that you can hear me. Please indicate. So I'm currently trying to share this live stream. Mr. Tomade Precious, how are you doing? Good morning. Thank you very much. So please, as soon as you're jumping on this live stream, please help me share the live stream link to your fellow audio guys, your audio friends, so that we can have some quite number of people on this live before we proceed. But you can still drop your questions. I'm fine, sir. Thank you very much. How is your day going? I know this is early in the morning. Why did they use mic on lead guitar combo? This one, early morning, you don't quick attack me. Okay, I'll answer your question. So the reason why did they use mic on lead guitar combo and not line out? So the basic reason is when it's basically two reasons, right? When you use line out for guitar combos, like you are sending line out or from your combo to like your mixer, then to your amplifier, you are just sending the DI, the direct, they call it DI, direct injection. You are injecting directly into the system. But when you use a combo, there's how combo sounds, how whether it's a bass combo or a lead guitar combo, there's how they sound. They have this sonic see the speaker movement and speaker revving, like the movement of the speaker and the how it sounds, right? So when you use a guitar combo, your guitar will sound different, and you want to be able to capture that sound, right, from the guitar itself, like the guitar combo. And you can use a mic like the Shure SM57 or any mic that can handle high pressure, because you are miking up a speaker, so you can actually pick that sound that you're hearing from the combo. If you are sending a bass, they do it mostly for bass guitar, right? If you are sending a bass through DI, direct injection, to the mixer, what will happen is, yeah, you hear the sound of the bass, like normally the normal DI sound, direct injected sound to the mixer. But when you use a mic like SM57 to mic up that same combo, the effect is different, right? Now, this, when you plug your bass guitar to a combo, this is how it sounds, right? The movement of the speaker, the revving, you get this kind of punchy and crunchier sound from a combo, right? So what they do is they are trying to capture that crunchy sound. So basically, in a good setup for just bass, right, you find three sources coming from the bass. So the first one will be the DI, right, directly injected from the bass directly to the mixer. Then the second one will be DI from the amp. Now, you know your amp also has your bass amp has like a DI out. So those EQ you've done on the bass like amp, which is serving the bass combo, right, you can also capture that too. Then the last one is the bass microphone, the amp microphone. So you have three signals. So now you can blend any two of these three signals. You can either blend your mic amp, your mic bass combo, like that's the mic. You can either blend it with the direct signal. So what most people do is they will send because of phase issues, they will send they use band pass to shape out the low and send the DI coming from the bass directly to the sub, and they will send the mic'd version, the mic'd amp, to send it to the top, and the sound is amazing. Like when you hear how the bass will sound crunchy, like, do you understand? To sound really amazing. So that's the reason why people mic up bass combos or lead guitar combos, amplifiers. That's the reason why they are mic'd. They are trying to capture exactly what the bassist is sending us from his combo. And the reaction of a combo, right? What's the meaning of combo? That's just the truth. Like, the meaning of combo means combination, meaning just one speaker can play full range. It can play high, it can play mid, and play low at the same time. There's nothing like splitting um, your highs into a tweeter, then your mids into a smaller driver, then your lows into a larger driver, right? So that's the reason um, why it's called a combo, a combination speaker. It can play both your high, mid, and low at the same time. So, and the cones are very, very light. They're very, very light, and they move very fast to reproduce frequencies, right? So because of that, your bass will sound almost the way it's meant to sound, like the speaker raising to sound amazing. Then you can now use a mic to mic up that sound from the bass combo. So that's basically it. Wow, thank you so much. I'm very happy to answer your question, and I hope you understand the reason why bass guitar combos are, or combo or amps are always being mic'd, right? So any other question, please write down in the comment section. Think of anything you're finding hard to wrap your head around. Sir, please, I have a question. You don't need to tell me you have a question. Just write it down in the comment section. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to respond to you. Oh, this is a live section where I communicate with my with people, right? I also do another live section where you can even come up on my live stream, you understand, to be a shared screen, and you'll be able to ask me, like, you'll be on the video too, and you'll be able to ask me questions that you're finding really hard to answer. So that's it. So I hope, Mr. Ola Music, I hope I answered your question, right? And I hope you understand the reason why amps are being mic'd, why guitar amps or bass amps are being mic'd. I hope I answered your question. So thank you very much. So you guys source for questions. I'm currently trying to share this live stream with my older phone so that so basically think of things. Yeah, I understand better now. You are the best. I'm not the best, bro. I am not the best. I am not the best. Don't keep me stagnant. And that's just one particular thing. When people, I've never told myself that I'm very good, right? I allow people to say it, and I do allow my work to speak for itself. So I'm not this kind of person that talks too much or jumps around trying to show people how much knowledge I have, right? Because once you start thinking that way, that's when your knowledge starts being limited. You stop learning. And another thing is, even when people are telling you they're very, very good, right? Don't let it get into your head. Once it gets into your head, you start believing that you're the best, and your growth will stop. So I have another question here. Do you use Super by Waves while mixing live? Yeah, a couple of things. I don't just use Waves Super, right? Personally, I don't. Yeah, my own opinion though, I don't really like Waves plugins. Maybe Waves Super or anything Waves. I don't know. I feel their plugins are just the fact that Waves plugins are like processing sound under 1 milliseconds. That's fewer samples. It makes me feel like the plugins are light, or maybe they are fake, or they're reducing my quality. So I don't like using them most of the times. But I do use it too. Yeah. I use Super Rack with another DAW side by side. I use Cubase 12 or Cubase 13 or 14. So I use Cubase to run other things like my drum trigger, right? I do some other things, auto tune. Yeah, when it comes to auto tune, I jump over to Waves because will give me low latency. But everything I'm doing on my DAW, I'm always trying to be sure that um my latency, meaning my buffer size, is not too high, that the latency will be very, very much, that no, this is live sound, it has to be going in and coming out almost at the same time. So anything larger than 10 milliseconds is very, very um good morning. Good morning. So anything larger than 10 milliseconds be noticeable, right? So I have another question. Please, how can you be playing back a track from your DAW and also be using Wave Super Rack at the same time on X32? Um, how is that possible? There's nothing that is not possible, right? So late, lately I found out that anything you think of, right? Anything you think of, you can actually achieve, right? In audio, because some things you just think of, you feel like it's not possible. It's possible. You don't just know how to do it. So, um, sending playback track from your DAW and using Superarc at the same time. Now, when you're using a Mac laptop, right? This will only work on a Mac laptop. Cannot work on your Windows laptop. So on your Mac laptop, you can run SuperHack, right? And run a DAW. I can even run track live at the same time. Be multi-tracking and be running your DAW and be running SuperHack. The driver is seen differently by different software. I don't know how Mac did it, but it's amazing. Especially these M1 laptops, these M1 cheap laptops, they can do a lot of things. But if you want to do it on your Windows laptop, you have to place that playback right in the DAW. And because once your DAW holds a particular, in Windows, once your DAW holds a particular driver, maybe it's your mixer or your sound card, it's the only one that wants to use that driver. Nothing else can use that same driver. Do you understand? But on Mac, you can multiple softwares can use the same driver, and this is how it works. Like, I cannot really explain. I'm not a tech engineer, so but that's how it works. And another question, I hope I answered your question, Mr. Toromadi Precious. And the Beats Boy, you use your DAW. How do you connect that? I use my DAW. How do I connect that? It's basic connection. It's just like you want to multi-track, right? When you are multi-tracking, what are you doing? You're sending from, who are these people this early morning? These birds. So the way it works is for multi-tracking, you're actually sending your tracks from your mixer, right, to your DAW. That's how it works. Then when you're trying to do virtual sound or playback, you send from your DAW back to your mixer, right? So when I'm using my DAW to mix, what I do is I'm sending and returning at the same time. So I can send my kick to a particular track, right, and send that same kick back to my board. Then I'll live monitor. So like what live monitor will enable is to enable audio to pass through the track and come back to my board in in split seconds. There's a seconds, in split milliseconds, to go from my mixer to my DAW, passing through a track, then from my DAW back to the mixer. So anything I now apply on that track will affect. Do you understand? That's the way it works basically. So you can do a lot of things, right? You can do a lot of things with a DAW, working side by side with a DAW, and that's why most of my live sound seems to sound very perfect, because I'm doing like mixing and mastering in real time. I'm sending tracks, doing trigger, doing auto tune, sending my BGVs. Then although it's very complicated, but the longer you do it, the more time you spend doing it, the more easier it is. Like now, there is something I did. I'm going to answer your question, Mr. Olamizik. So there's a question I did. There's something I did. I think it was last year. I did a live stream, and people were wondering how I was able to um run virtual sound check and super hack at the same time, right? And what I did was a three-way connection. I sent my tracks from the mixer, sent it to my DAW, then sent back everything I've done for my DAW, right, back to the mixer, right. Then instead of touching the mixer channels, I now sent what I sent back from my DAW back to my system again, which is now going to SuperRack through other channels or through other what do we call it, through other um mono out I've not used, right? So it's going to the system, coming back to the board, then from the board going back to the system again, then coming back to the board last time. So that's how funny it gets. Like, that's how complicated routing is. No matter how professional you are, routing will always be hard. There are times I beat my hand like on my desk, and I'm just trying to think of something to do. Do you understand? Because there's nothing that is impossible, especially with you see that Birmingham mixer. Birmingham Midas, those guys, the routing is very flexible. You can send bus to channel to bus, even match itself is so funny. So, say, how do we get drum triggers, Mr. Ola Music? How do we get drum triggers? So, first of all, what's a trigger? I think I have a video on that, and I've posted it on that Connect Audio Live group before. If you check on my videos, you'll find it there. So, the way drum trigger works is a drum trigger plugin is basically anything that converts audio spikes, right, into giving samples. Now you have samples like a kick sample, a snare sample. So what you just need is a trigger, an audio source that once I can put a microphone and snap my finger, and once I snap that finger, that spike, I can use that spike to trigger another sound, just like MIDI. So I have samples I recorded from this PSR SX900 keyboard. The drums on that keyboard sounds very realistic, so I had to steal those samples, record them into a file. Then I'll now start using the trigger. The trigger plugin I use is AP Trigger, AppleSoft AP Trigger, AP then TR. Do you understand? Trigger, and I'll load those samples, right, and start using my kick drum to trigger them, or my snare to trigger them. So that's how you can get a drum trigger. Use a DAW, right, to do that. So the Beat Boy, what method is preferred for online mix when using the same board, Matrix or Buses or DAW? Now let's be very honest here, right? See, when it comes to online mix, what I recommend, right, is using both your mixer and your DAW, right? You cannot outrightly use your mixer to get a professional mix, and I know what I meant by that. Now, if you check most mixers, there are no auto tune on most mixers, right? There are some kind of plugins you look for you cannot find, except you're using a Behringer Wing. And a Behringer Wing doesn't still have auto tune on it, and some particular plugins I like to use. So you need to use a third party software. Do you understand? An outboard processor. You can use Wave Super Rack, or you can use your normal DAW and use some third party plugins VST on that same DAW too. Do you understand? So that's how to get the professional mix. Like, when I mean professional mix, you cannot just use your board. Yeah, your board can get a very good mix. When I mean very good, but where do you want to get auto tune from, or where do you want to get some other things from? Do you understand? So you need these things, like sorry, you need um this third party software to work with you. Don't mind what any other person wants to say about it, because I find out that the oldies in this industry, um they are frowning against softwares, like using softwares and those kind of things, because in those days they used analog boards, and I wonder why they don't want to um upgrade or move with the world, because you have to upgrade, right? So you have to, things are moving over time, technology is becoming more complicated, and you have to keep on moving. If you don't move according to how the world is moving, right, you'll be forgotten. And even if you are staying in one position, the world is moving forward. That means in staying in one position, in frame of reference, people moving forward, they're moving backward. Do you understand? So you actually have to move with the world, right? And surround yourself with new technologies, right? So you need to work with third party softwares, right? Like, to get a very good mix. Then if you're using your board, you can just basically just send, if you don't have like access to all these things I'm talking about, you can just basically use your board and balance, then maybe send it to a boss, right? A different boss, so you can make a custom mix, right? And you balance your kick, snare, we balance everything, then send that bus to a matrix that you now process, master it, do global EQ, then send to your online. It also sound good. But what I do is I use my main left and right because my main left and right, the way I mix my main left and right, like it's so balanced. The drums is loud. Yes, drums is loud. Everything, drums, vocals, everything is coming out the bass. So I'll just use a matrix to copy my main left and right, right, which is also my front of house mix. Then I send to a matrix, then master it, limit it, EQ it, then send to the online. It also sound good because of the way I mix my front of house. So any real time changes I'm making in the house also happen in broadcast. If I'm soloing anything, let's say the drummer is soloing or it reaches this kind of drum cue where the drummer has to play, and I push my drum DCA like plus 5 dB for the drums to be very loud at that moment. It also push be pushed up in my online boss. So all these things I'm doing in real time. You don't need to complicate things and start um trying to do this one, do this one, do this one. The more you complicate things, the harder it is for you to be very fast and flexible. Do you understand? So I hope you answered your question, Mr. The Beat Boy. Uh, the next question I'm seeing is Mr. Tomade Precious. You again, this guy. Because you normally use it, I mean, you normally play a track from your door and be mixing it and also using Super Rack. So my question is, how will you route it? Um, I think I just explained that. So, okay, let me break it down right. On your board, you have a card, a sound card at the back of your board, an audio card at the back of your board. If you are using a Benga X32 or Midas N32, if you look at the back of the board where you plug your printer cable, your USB A to B, you find out that this thing is connected to the board, but it has a panel. That's the sound card, right? And what the sound card is doing is basically taking 32, you understand, 32 USB channels. So you are sending 32 USB mono channels to any outboard software. So now you can multi-track, right? So it has 32 cents, right, and 32 returns. On a Benga ring, you have 48 cents and 48 returns. So you are sending it to your DAW, right? Now your DAW is what do we call it? Your DAW can do a lot, right? It can um you can send, you can multi-track, then you can also send back 32 USB mono channels from your DAW to your mixer. So that's how I'm able to send tracks, right, recorded tracks to my DAW. They will not do virtual sound check because, like it or not, when you hear my mix, like you cannot just tell your drummer to play kick, and you now start checking it. You will never get it right because the sound that's coming from the acoustic the kick drum itself, will be blending with what is coming sounding from the speakers. So what I do is I'll multi-track. Then when I send back to virtual sound check, now I can now hear the kick clearly. There's no drummer disturbing me, right? Then I will now mix the kick the way it's meant to be mixed. Then blend it with the acoustic version. So that's the virtual sound check, sending from your board to your DAW, then from your DAW down to the board. And I have a video on that. I cannot really start explaining. You have to see me do it, right? See me do it and see me send those tracks, then return it. People do it a lot. There are so many engineers here, professional ones that do virtual sound check, right? So they send from the board USB, they send 32 USB cents. Now, even on your X32 or Midas or your Benga, they will show you where to patch what you want to that 32 cents. Then to reflect in the DAW. Then from your DAW, you can send 32 back to the board. So I can send my kick back to my kick channel, snare back to my snare channel, and start using what I've recorded because it's the same sound to now mix, do virtual mix. So that's the way it works. So, and you said also using SuperRack at the same time. I told you you're using a Mac, right? A Mac laptop. You can always use that same driver, right, to run SuperRack with. You can use that same driver to run your DAW. You can use that same driver to run what do we call it? Track Live. Do you understand? You can do all this. That's what the Mac laptop offers. That's why you find professionals with Mac. It's not because of money. It's what it can do. The value it offers. You can actually, what do we call it? You can do a lot with a Mac laptop. So if you I feel like you're using Windows because with Windows it's not possible, but with Mac it's possible to use the same driver to run Super Rack, use the same driver to run this. And I have a video on that. You can check my live videos. Just check on how to use or how to Super Rack. Go to my live sections like live videos. If you go to my page, then you see normal videos, you see live. So go to under live, you see where I posted a video of how to route track to DOS or how to patch Super Rack, something like that. It's actually there. So um the next question is, please, you can you do a video of how you can record sample for the trigger? How will I? Okay, I'll work on that. I'll really work on that, and I'll show you two ways on how to do it. I'll do a video on that. So, but what I basically do is on the trigger software, there's where you can record. I'll just right click on the somewhere I right click, then to show me record sample. When I record samples, then I'll send an input maybe from my sound card to what do you call it? I'll send it to my to that trigger software. Then it will see what I'm recording. I'll now start recording notes. And what I do is I record velocity, meaning my trigger samples have three layers, right? A very hard hit, a medium hit, and is like a little hit. So to have this kind of dynamic, ding, 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 like to have this kind of dynamics, so that it will not be like when you're eating your thumbs, like everything the same. When you eat it small, to shout, or eat it hard, still shout. Do you understand? So I record with dynamics, right? So that when um, I'm using my samples, you will know that it's trigger to sound like the rhythms. And what I basically do is I still have, it's something I do. I have, I can on my snare, right? I can mic my snare normally, right? And I can use another microphone, right, on my same snare. But what I'll do is I'll remove the capsule. I'm sorry, that head, that net from the head. Then I'll allow the capsule to be exposed. What I'll now do is place a foam, right? A foam, just little foam on that same diaphragm. Then I'll use rubber bands to hold it. Then I'll now bend the mic to touch the snare, like to touch the body of the snare. So this the rim. So to touch the side of the snare, not like the snare drum itself, to touch it. Then I'll now use that sound to go and run trigger. Because if I'm using my normal snare mic, you can play your thumb too hard that the thumb will enter the snare mic and go and trigger the snare. Do you understand? So I'll use something that is already touching the snare to do the trigger so that it will be more effective. So that's what I do. But truth be told, my snare is always natural. And my snare top, snare bottom natural. My kick triggered. I have two versions of my kick. My normal kick drum and my triggered version. My snare is always natural. Then maybe I can now blend, if the snare is not sounding good naturally, I can now do another triggered version and now blend with the original snare, right? My toms are not natural. Tom 1, tom 2, floor tom, they're not natural, they are triggered. Do you understand? And because of my samples, they sound very good. And mind you, triggering is not cheat, it's mixing. Do you understand? If you have access to use it, it can do a lot of things for you. But you have to mind who you're using trigger for. Somebody like Benjamin James, now you cannot use drum trigger for him, right? You can only use it on his kick drum. But on his snare, because he's a very dynamic player, do you understand? You can't use trigger for him. But a normal worship song or normal drummer, do you understand, that plays hard, you can use trigger for them. The drums will sound really good. So the next question, I need to move very fast. Samuel Collier, what DAW can I use for auto tune and how do I route it to my mixer? For example, a TF5. So on your TF5, if you check your inputs section, you see your normal local input and you see your USB input, right? So when you get your driver, if you're using a Mac or let's say you're using a Windows, you've gotten the driver of your mixer and you've told your DAW that this is the driver you want to use. You want to use this TF5 mixer driver. Now you can now see all the TF5 inputs. So let's say your vocal is on channel 20, right? Automatically on the day on your mono 20, that's where the vocal will be, the raw vocals without your EQ compressor, no raw. Then what you can do is now open a track, right? Assign that mono 20 to that track, then add that auto tune on that track, then the output of that track assign it to that same mono 20. So the input of the track is mono 20, the output of the track is mono 20, but the two monos are input and output. It's not the same mono, but the first the input is input mono, then the output is output mono. So the input of the track mono 20, output mono 20, then apply the auto tune on that track, then live monitor the track. So live monitoring is that thing that looks like speaker. Every door has it's like high. On Logic is like letter high, then but on other doors it's like a small speaker you on. When you switch it on, you now start seeing audio passing through. Now the audio can now be passing through your DAW and coming back to the board. Then on your board, you tell your channel, that your vocal channel to come from USB, not local in, because now it's you want what has been affected from the DAW to enter that track, so it should come from USB. So now your auto tune, everything you've done will now be reflecting on that board, because you are sending from your board to the track, then it's passing through the track, then it's coming back to your board. So you can now, anything you apply on that track will be affected on the main board. So that's how it works on your TF5. Olamiz, please explain what vocal chain is. Vocal chain is basically okay, let me explain what it is now, right? Now, when it comes to chain or routing, right, it's what we call wet and dry, right? So wet means affected channel, dry means original, right? So if you have an equalizer, let's say this is an equalizer, right? This is my power bank, let's say it's an equalizer, right? So your equalizer has input and it has output. What is getting into the equalizer? What's entering into the equalizer is dry, the original. What's coming outside is what? Wet, meaning the equalizer have affected that channel, right? So the chain is, what are the processes from where to where, like from where to where are you patching these things? Is that what a chain means? Chain means, you know what chain means? Interlocks now. Interlocks from this guy to this guy. So they are locking with each other. Do you understand? So vocal chain is basically things you use on your vocals. Like what are the processes, do you understand, you use on your vocals? When your vocal is coming in, what do you first do? Do you first do filtering, that's high pass, and do you then do compression? Do you then do EQ? And do you not then do auto tune? Then then do saturation? Then do you then do expander, or put the expander in the front? Do you understand? So that's the vocal chain means what are the levels in processes, like from what to what are you processing? Do you understand? So that's the meaning of vocal chain. It's not something that is really hard to understand. So it's basically a chain. Do you understand? Connection to what's connected to what's connected. Is it from your equalizer to your compressor, or your compressor to your equalizer, then to your auto tune to your, so that chain, do you understand, is what you are talking about. So a vocal chain can be comprised of different effect on your inserts, right? It can be your from your auto tune to your saturation. Do you understand? The way you want to do it, anyhow you want to do it, it all works. Do you understand? So that's what a vocal chain means. It's like step to step. Do you understand? That's how it basically works. So don't let people deceive you. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. So it's actually one thing. Don't allow people deceive you. People use hard words or complex words um to what's that word? They use complex words for you, and you just feel this thing will be very complex. Good morning. No, don't lock it. I'm here. So they use complex words on things and confuse you, right? And you think this thing, because of it's complex and it's very hard. No, it's very simple. So the next question is did I answer your question, Mr. Ola Music? If I answered your question, say hi. So the next question is from Mr. Aminu Oluwanifemi. Yes. Do you use your DAW for your live stream? How do you connect it, and do you do the tuning then send to your broadcast mix, which means your broadcast mix is different? Let me read that question again. I'm not sure I understand. How do you use your DAW for your live stream? How do you connect them? Do you do the tuning then send to the broadcast mix, which means your broadcast mix is different? Yes, yes. Most cases, right? Um, if I have two laptops, right, and I don't want to overload one laptop, right, I can use my laptop, right, my DW to mix podcast, right? And at the same time, I'll use the same laptop to be running external processes like that same DAW that is mixing broadcast because now it's the same thing. I can just live monitor because broadcast mix is live monitoring, right? You're sending tracks and you're sending it back to your board and you're mixing it. Then from my board, um, I can just assign it to my aux in, then so I can be able to solo on my board and check my broadcast mix. Do you understand? But sometimes it can be very complicated because you are running live mix and I'm running broadcast at the same time. So if I'm running broadcast, I can just take my Mac laptop and go and sit down beside the um main mixing engineer, maybe the front of us engineer on stage. I can collect from anybody, sit down beside the person, then headphones on my ear, and what else? I can now sit down beside him and start mixing broadcasts with my laptop. So the I if I want to explain how to connect it, I've tried to explain it, but it's better you watch it. I have a video on that where you can go to my live videos. You see how to route tracks to DAWs. You understand? Or even to Super Rack. You see it there, over there. It's very very simple. So sometimes I do what do we call it? Sometimes I try as much as possible to use my main mixer, right? To do that. But I've said it already. When it comes to broadcast mix, the best thing to use on your broadcast mix, right? Hold on. The first thing to use on your broadcast mix, best thing to use is Mixer plus DAW, right? Or Mixer plus an external plugin or external processor, because your mixer cannot do it all. But the reason I'm not telling you to use your DAW mail is because your DAW can see softwares are funny, might just decide not to work or maybe just crash. Once it's crash, audio is gone. Do you understand? So it's best to use your board, right? So that in case anything happen, you can just quickly jump and reroute and don't maybe unmute channels because I'm what I do is backup. If I'm running anything on my vocals, right, I will have the vocals will be duplicated, right? The one that's coming from my DAW and the natural one. So I'll just mute the natural one and be using it for my DAW. In case anything happens, I'll just unmute the natural one. Do you understand? So you have to move with redundancy in mind, right? You have to move with redundancy in mind, having a backup, unless things can get really messy. I saw a guy that was relying heavily on waves, right? And he used waves to do a lot of things. And when waves crashed, there was no audio because his main left and right was passing through waves. Why would you do that? You're not meant to do things like that. Like you shouldn't rely on a software as much as hardware. Hardware are still reliable than software. Right? Yeah, hardware can get spoiled, but when it comes to softwares, they are more prone to crashes, right? So you have to really work on um mixing your broadcast with a mixer, a live mixing console, but with the help of a DAW, right? Or with the help of an external processor. So that's it. So next question, please explain insert effect and sense effect. Okay. Now first of all, um that's the two basic ways of using an effect. Either you insert it or you send. So I'll explain how it works. So um somebody asked about vocal chain, right? Before. And I explained that vocal chain is just basically means um your process, like how are you processing things, do you understand? From what effect to what effect, do you understand? Now you use inserts to do that because you have your dry and wet, then your channel is moving from, let me give you an example. Now you have a compressor, right, and you have an equalizer. Now your compressor is coming out. Okay, let me do this way that you guys will understand. So you have a compressor and you have an equalizer.
Remember that I said dry is the original signal, wet is what has been affected. Now, if I have a compressor here and I have an equalizer here, what is entering into the compressor? What's entering into the compressor is actually a dry, and what's coming out is actually a wet. Then the wet is now entering into the equalizer now. Now, what will you call that channel that's entering into the equalizer? Is it a wet or a dry? From frame of reference to the compressor, it's actually a wet, but frame of reference to the equalizer is a dry. Do you understand? So you see these steps in processes, right? This is where you can insert things, right, directly into the chain. So that's what inserting means. You are inserting effects directly into the chain of processing. So um the channel is heavily affected because it's entering into it and it's coming out. So you can now change how much you want it to affect that channel. That's what we call the mix, the blend. Whether you want it to be to affect it 100% or 90% or affect it 50%, 50% dry, 50% wet. Do you understand? That's what inserting means. But effect on a sense is like you having this effect. You have your dry channel, right? Then you can now send from your dry channel to that same effect. So you are sending to the effect while you still have your dry. So what happens is um the the wet that's going to come outside from the effect will now be blended with the dry. So the dry and the wet will still be available, right? So because you have your original channel with you, and it's these beds are disturbing me. I feel like stoning these beds. So you can now have your wet and dry channel. So give an example, you have a reverb, right? You have your vocals. Your vocals is actually you've mixed your vocals. You want to apply reverb on your vocals. Now you can now create a bus, right? Add your reverb effect on that bus. Then send your vocals to that bus. So your vocals is still going dry to your main bus while the wet is blending with the dry. So you have the dry and the wet. But if in fact is that reverb on the insert, do you understand? What will happen is you get only wet. Do you understand? Only wet reverb. Like it wouldn't be dry. It's only the wet reverb. So there's nothing like your dry, your main vocals. But sending is just like you have your individual vocals and your from your dry, you still have your wet. Do you understand? So that's basically it. So they're just blending. That's the difference between inserting and sending. Do you understand? That two different things. You can insert effects and you can send to the effect. Do you understand? So sending to the effect, you still have your dry, then the wet coming from the affected channel, blending the both of them together. But insert is directly on the channel, and there's nothing like dry for you again. You can't have your dry vocals. What you have is wet. Do you understand? So that's justice. Mr. Ola Music, do you understand now? Sorry, Mr. The Beat Boy, do you understand the explanation? So I can say another question. Mr. Tomadi Precious, I really want to appreciate you. God used you to teach me how to mix drums very well. What I mixed, that I mixed a bad sounding drum and sounded very nice. So please, how can I download the AP Trigger? So you can, I think AP Trigger is if you know how to find your way around things, right? So many things are free to get. I know it's paid, but you can get it for free, right? You can just go on your search bar, search for AP Trigger. Do you understand? Then when you download it, you find download and install it. It's not very hard to. I'm not sure you're meant to be asking me that question, but it's something you're meant to do. You're meant to wrap your head around. But if you're using a Mac laptop, it might be very, very hard for you. So you can download it, and if you don't have a license, just come to my DM. I'll give you a license. I'll just screenshot an ID and license you can use to activate it, right? So that's it. So any other questions? You have 15 minutes more. This is um this is 44 minutes gone. So we actually have 16 minutes more to go. This is a 1 hour section. Please, you guys should um you guys should think about questions. This is your chance. I'm your DM already. Let me check. So, what were we talking about? Forgotten just now. What were we talking about? So, for those of us that are beginners in audio engineering, where should we start from? I'm going to answer your question. So, the question you asked might seem like a very funny question, but it's actually a question that questions reality. Yeah, that's it. Because I find most engineers, right, deceiving themselves, right? And I know this person from this person's behavior and the way this person is going about this career. This person is not going to make it. It's just a fact. It's not about bad luck or negative thinking. When you are doing a particular thing, expect results, either good or bad, right? And if I'm seeing you doing it the wrong way and no one is correcting you, you are doing things the way you like. Of course, um, so if I can tell when I see somebody that is not really, what do you call it? Someone that is doing things the wrong way, right? And I can tell if this same person, right, is going to actually be a figure or make it in this sole audio engineering business. So I'll tell you where to start from, right? So I'll advise you first to stop posting, right? Stop posting things. You get on a Midas mixer, the next thing you want to do is take pictures and send and start posting, let people know you're doing audio engineering. No. Something my father taught me, if a great audio engineer, and um and I learned some things from him, right? And what I can tell you is sometimes don't let people see your growth. Do you understand? Just be somewhere. Keep on learning, like keep on learning, adding knowledge, like in secret, right? So when you come out, you become very like people be very surprised, and people like surprises because when you don't really know how to do something but you are posting about it, they will not call you for a certain job you cannot deliver because you are not as good as what you're posting or what you're saying, right? So sometimes you have to be just you have to just stop posting for now. Like stop posting your outings, where you're going. You can post that, you can take pictures, but just keep them in your gallery. But stop posting them. You understand? Because there's a reason for that. Like unless it start affecting you, like mentally, you feel like you are becoming good. Yes, you say you are becoming something. That will be going in your mind. So stop posting and stop trying to prove to anybody anything. So get a laptop, right? Get a laptop. Go on YouTube, start watching, ask YouTube stupid questions, like just keep on asking questions, like things that you don't really understand. You start watching videos. So that already will get you into the space or into the mind of audio engineers, how they think. So when you watch multiple videos, use WhatsApp to call. So when you start watching videos, right, um, get a laptop and start mixing with a laptop. I wouldn't lie to you. If you don't know how to balance tracks in a DAW, the live sound is not for you, right? Because I find out that you'll be trying to. Um, have you opened the phone? How do you know my password? Okay. So, um, where was I? What was I saying? Yes, get a laptop. Start collecting multi tracks from churches, like or from places. From your studio guys, they have multi tracks to give you. Collect it and start fighting those multi tracks. Start trying to mix and start. Do you understand? Wrap your head around these things. look for things, watch videos. Just I even have videos on how to mix, talking about fundamentals, understanding how certain things are meant to sound, build your sound library. Do you understand? That's where you're meant to start from. You're not meant to start from just jumping on a console and taking pictures, right? Because that's what I see most people do. Take pictures, but you don't really know how to do it. Do you understand? I find people talk about what they don't know how to do. Yeah, I know you're trying to make some money and do some business, but trust me, life is better when you know what you're doing and when people call you for what you're doing. Someone like me now, with where I've got into, do you understand? I don't need to start um begging or start making mouth or shouting, do you understand? For gigs, they will just come. Do you understand? Friends of friends of friends of friends, they will look for you. Do you understand? People are watching your videos, look for you. They will try to know who is this guy, please can I, do you understand? But you forcing yourself, and that's one thing about like high value brands, right? They don't shout. They are very, very quiet. Speakers like Sound Prince, you see them shouting about their speakers. It's very, very good. They keep on shouting. Real brands, real high value brands, right? Don't shout. The brands are quiet and they will tell you when you use them, you will know. And you always find them. Send to voicemail, I'm busy. So you like very quiet, like their work will speak for themselves. There's a day the day I found out I was very good is when I jumped on good equipment, right? And I had some subs. I was like, God, see how amazing this sub sounds. So I've been mixing rubbish all my life, working with all these sound planes, all these. I'm not trying to throw shades on them. They're actually good speakers too, but comparing it to how much noise they make, or comparing it to high value speakers, you be like when you hear subs like CVR, do you understand? CVR subs, or you hear subs like EW, or you hear subs like you just be like when you hear the quality, how these subs are pushing hair, like you'll be so surprised. You just be like, why how these speakers not sounding like that? And from that very day, you wouldn't want to use those speakers, right? So that's what you should start building. Start being quiet. Stop making noise, right? Stop making noise and keep on send it to voicemail. So keep on what do you call it? Just keep on with the growth, learn, watch videos, move with guys that are very good, very important. You have to move with people that you know that are good. Yes, they will not have your time, but like I know that there's so many people that have been like pestering me. They want to go out with me to go and work, things like that. And let me tell you, we can talk about this thing, but the honest truth is I'll forget, right? I cannot remember everybody and tell you, yeah, let's move, that kind of thing. But if you're someone that is persistent and you're not even about all this kind of thing, you come to my DM and you be saying, you be greeting me good morning, that kind of thing, it will not even work. That's just the truth. So this is how you there are some people that I met on YouTube. Same people are asking me questions and we are tight friends now, like very good friends. So you have to move with guys that are very good, like join body. Now what things they call them? Like move with them and they'll start showing you some things, the reason why they do this thing, and at the same time you're building your sound library. Remember what sound library is? Sound library is like library of sounds. What am I saying? So you have to know how things sound like, how a rock snare sounds like, how a punk snare sound like. Sorry, let's say punk. I mean funk, rock, pop. Only say pop. Then some other music, how a piccolo snare should sound like. How do you understand? You have to put these libraries in your head. So you have to know how it sounds. It's just like listening to people's voice you recognize, right? You know that this is this person that just called my name, this is Deji. Because why? The person's voice or sound library is in your head and you can now know that this is this certain person. So that's how you should be your sound library to the point. You have to know how a snare drum should sound like. So if you hear a snare drum that is not sounding the way it should sound, you will know. And you are not giving tools. That's when you should not know how to use those tools to get that thing that is not sounding the way it should sound, to sound like the way you want it to sound. Do you understand? You have tools to do that, right? So that's where you should start from. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Samuel Collier. Um, the Speed Boy, what's your flaws while mixing live sound? What are my flaws? Uh, Bad input and bad output, right? I won't call it a flaw. It's just something that Nigerians like, right? I found out that people don't really um value sound or audio in Nigeria. Yeah, the high value people at the top, they know the value, but you see these people that are not really there, like they don't really value sound, and what they do most times is um they they are they invest wrongly, right? And I'll enter into a space, and when I see the way they praise the subs, I'll be like, why are you like, don't you understand physics? Yeah, they don't understand. I can't blame them. But at the same time, why are you doing what you don't know how to do? Or why are you investing in something you don't understand or something you don't know? Do you understand? So I walk into spaces, I see bad subs that when you throw kick inside, it start vibrating, almost dead, bad amplifiers. Do you understand? So I won't call it a flaw. I know everything I'm doing. If I'm entering into a space, I know how many subs I'm meant to use. I know how many tops I'm meant to use. I know what to do to get that sound good. And I know when to pause. Like, I know when I cannot get this sound system to be sound good. Yes, I know when. Like, entering into a space that is very vibrative, that's echoing. How do you want to get the sound good? You cannot do acoustics. You're not doing acoustics. So the main thing to understand is obeying physics, right? When you don't obey physics, right, you have problems like understanding and obeying physics. That's what I do, and that's why the sound is very good. So most times, if you catch me somewhere where the sound is not really good, know that there are problems, and I'm just doing it. Do you understand? But I know exactly what to do in every situation to get the sounds. And I mean, so I went to some spaces, and I will tell those people that okay, um, in this space you use 5 12 sub. People like it's too much. The question I was them, are you doing how to mix? Do you understand? Okay, do you think I'm asking you for, or do you think I'm just telling you 5 subs because I want to use plenty subs? I'm telling you what's enough to carry the place or cover the area. And that's why you see me, I don't do any kind of gigs. You see people come to you, I want offset. It's even recently I understood what offset and full set is. I never knew what it is. What I know how to do is tell me the space. Just like give me the geometry of the space. How big is it? Where are people sitting down? And I'll tell you how many speakers to use. Then that will now bring out the cost, right? Not telling me you want offset. You're not gonna carry offset. You're not gonna enter one camp. When you don't reach the venue, not that one camp, one reduce camp. You can't offset enter that reduce camp. You'll not be like God. Do you understand? How do you want to perform? So it's actually gaslighting, rage baiting. That's what Nigerians do. So I don't have flaws. Do you understand? I know everything I'm doing. Do you understand? It's not like pride talk, but it's just a fact. I beat myself to that point that let me know that I am not the problem. And if there's any problem anyway, it's the sound equipment. Do you understand? Or it's the musicians. But and again, musicians too. Some of these musicians I don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to play, that are just, do you understand? You see drummer, they play them drummer play, drummer will play playing a kick like this. And that drummer will come. How? Do you understand? So you need to work with professionals. Professionals understand professionals, right? And if you're a professional working with a novice, you will suffer, right? So you have to. That's just one of the things about audio I can tell you about. I don't really have, me as a person, I don't have flaws, right? The only problem I can encounter is equipment. Do you understand? I want to put sub here and telling me that this sub and there's one flower that is there that I want to put there on one banner. Do you understand? Or I want to do front of house station. You tell me that you cannot put front of house station in the center of the audience, and people, there's no space. People be seeing, but you put camera there, right? You put camera stand there. So visuals is not important than sound. I mean, do live stream without audio. Whether people understand what you're saying. Go and do your live stream without audio. Do you understand? So people don't really value sound at this in this part of the world. So it really affects some of us, because yeah, I can say I'm enjoying some good equipment now, but back then, right? Um, the time you know that you are very good is when you jump on good equipment. That's when you now know your fault. right? You can't really know your faults right now because you're not really working with high value equipment. Some people are, but I'm talking about people that are going. You meet nonsense most of the times. Do you understand? So that's what I can say about that question you asked. So let's keep on going. Uh, Studio guys, I no get Mr. D Beat Boy. He means music production producers. DM me and give you multi tracks. And if you're in Lagos, I could also guide you. That's very good, guys. You can you saw that comment over there by the Beat Boy. He said if you're in Lagos, he can guide you, and he also have multi tracks can give you. So Mr. Nkole said, "Oh wow, I really appreciate how I can reach out to you." So Tomade said, "I'm not in your group or having your number." I think my number is on my description. Maybe I'll put it there. I'll update my bio and I'll put my number there. You can just message me on IG. That's the best way to reach me. On YouTube, you cannot really chat. So, but uh, on Instagram, you can search my name. You understand? Just to be extreme, and to bring out my Instagram chat media. I'm always active on Instagram too. Um, yes, you did. The people, please your number so I can send a message. Very good. Team, I like my all. So I go pick craft music. But these things also boils down to the church admin or the event plan because they feel like you want to reap them. Is there any chance to work with you? Yeah, you can. You can. It's just how ready you are. I'm this kind of person that I want to see you, like I really want to see you pester me. I don't like I don't really believe in words, what people say. I believe in what they do, right? And you just coming to my den telling me, okay, you want us to work together, that kind of thing. It won't really like that energy. I want to see energy before I say, okay, this guy, maybe work out go now. Let's maybe join body. You understand? Because people, I feel like people don't really, people just want to try their luck. They don't really want to, like, like that energy they put in for in things that they want. They don't really have or wants that energy, right? So I wonder sometimes, what do we call it? I wonder sometimes they will just be like, what do we call it? You guys should hold on, please. Sorry guys, I'm back. I quickly went to do something. Can you guys hear me, please? And comment section, you can hear me. So the last thing I read was, but this thing is also boils down to church and event plan because they feel like you want to read them. Yes. So people are funny. It all boils down to value, right? All these people are they're annoying, honestly, because I feel like things I mess with my head, right? They just feel like you can just use sound or anything. And me, let me tell you what I do in most cases, right? I do tell my clients, if you don't allow me to do my job, right, don't blame me when things don't go well, right? You're telling me let's do this one. If it's how not come out well, oh, don't blame you. We go fight. Do you understand? Because now I'm telling you I want to do this thing. You're telling me I cannot do this one. Can we do this one? Oh, no, I don't want this here. That kind of thing. Now you telling me how to do my job, right? So that's what I do most time. You tell them. It's not like you be so flexible or this, or you tell them too about the money. This your money cannot, and it just is as simple. Don't do jobs that don't pay you, right? There is always somebody that can do things for, like, do something for a certain price, right? You come to me, maybe you want to do so sound. I charge 1.5 million, right, for that sound. There's somebody that will collect 300,000 to do that sound, and the person will come with his analog mixer, come with his sound prince speakers, and do you understand? They like it. See, one mistake I ever made, like I made in this life, was I do feel like I always felt like um it's always money, good speakers, good people. Bro, there are levels. People. You see, when it comes to hierarchy or IQ level, there are people with more than 1 hour. Like this life seems becoming sweet. There are people with what do we call it? With very low IQ, right? And let me just talk about levels of people. Do you understand? And you carry your digital mixer, you carry your line array, you carry L acoustics. They don't need the value. You bring all these things, right? And the sound, right? You mix drums, bro. These drums sound very good, and they will tell you, I don't like the way this thing is sounding. That's happened to me. They will tell you, I don't like the way this thing is sounding. Blah blah blah. This one, that one, and I don't even understand. And somebody will come with analog mixer, mix rubbish, distorted mix. They'll tell you, sound here clean. The sound. This I'm telling you is not a joke. It's happening. It's real, right? It's very real. You feel like you're doing. More. If somebody says he said he has this kind of money for a certain thing, if you know your money cannot do it, right? Meet people that can do it, or tell her to go for somebody else that you cannot do this, because when they know come finally like that sound, right, they will come and complain. I did a show, right, and I told them to they only do like a little outdoor, like a car park space, so it was wide. And I told them that this money you pay me 1.5. I'm bringing six boxes per side with crane. Then I'm using this certain, maybe I'm using 8 door subs for house. Then I'm using also on stage. I'm bringing drums. Normally that money wasn't even enough, but based on kind of clients we're dealing with, I met these people, and these people were pricing it down. I was telling these people, you can only price my workmanship. You cannot price the money for the equipment. Do you understand? Because we are partnering with other companies, and those companies are collecting like 60 to 70% of the money, right? And there was somebody else. I don't want to mention that person's name, but you guys will know that person. That said we will give them light, screen, and sound for 900,000. Light, screen, and sound for 900,000 naira. And they're like, see what this person is saying. And I said, go for that person. Oh. See, me as I am, like, I know what I want to give you, but you have to go for this. They're not like, let's just try them. Like, let them just try us for this one. And I just wanted to lock them as a client, because sometimes you have to show clients the value you offer. They don't know. Like you want to buy suya and they give you testing to eat. Just allow them to taste it. Then when they now come back for more, you now build them. You understand how much you have to do most of the time. So I now they paid 1 million, right? And of course we rose the rider. I brought down everything I was going to bring, right? And I brought few artists. Now the sound I brought only covered half of the audience, and I did it purposely. No delays. I did not use delays that day. I used four boxes per side with some subs, right? And I make sure the sound was good from the stage to my mix position. Then a little bit out back of my mix position. From there, the sound started fading. Then I kept mixing, but the sound is not reaching the back. I went to that back, the sound was reaching the back, but like it was not as hot as the front. I was like, if you want us to bring like family go reach, you go pay so somehow. I told you, do you understand? So sometimes you have to confront clients, tell them, do you understand that this is your price. If you cannot do it, no verse. Because when things no go well, to fall back on you. So it's better they pay you, right, for a certain thing and you know going to deliver well. May they shout on top of you, then you keep quiet, right? Or it's better than you collecting lesser price, right? You not delivering less, do not still be shouting on you, right? So play your game well. Somebody said, is it just work with me? Yes. So I remember the video of my all I sent, right? If I were to change the speaker placement, where should I start from? I don't remember. Mr. Samuel Coley, I am very, very sorry. Let me check my DM. So send me a message like this, right? Send me a message to my WhatsApp. Let me see if I know who. I don't want to send me like a where you were using samples and JBL on one side, then your speaker on the left side was at the back of the pastors. Are you the one? I think somebody sent me that. So you can just message me and let me know you're the one. And please, man, where should I start from? Bro, honestly, what I can just tell you, right, is see those speakers, they're not meant to be using free range inside that church. They're meant to be using two-way speakers, normal two-way speakers. You hang them, you rig them up, right? You rig those two-way speakers up higher than people's head. Those speakers that you put on the ground, when people stand, okay, now I think I can, I remember you. What's your name? Your name is Light. Oh. So, as I was saying, right, you have to rig those two-way speakers. If you get two-way speakers, you get four. Like, couple two together, fly it up on your right, then couple another two together, fly it on your left. You cannot use those free range because when people stand, they'll block your speakers. So what are you mixing when people are blocking your speakers? Your speaker has to be above people's head. Do you understand? For it to feed down on the people so everybody can hear it. What you can see better, or you can hear better, right? So that's one of the major things you have to do first. Those free range, and I wonder why people like his stony sound like that. So poor when it comes to thinking. You're installing sounds, then you're putting it on the ground. Those full range, that's what they know. Put full range on the ground. And that's because people consult, people, novices, people are not professionals. When you see professionals work, you know that these people are professionals. So let's keep on going. Where are you based? I'm based in Lagos. Right? Anointed Dalakbo. True. I reach out to you on Instagram. Alright. Pickcraft Music. I have observed that. I've observed and I found that there are some general overseers that want to get their audio right, but the problem is that church admin. That pastor doesn't want to get the audio right. He does it. He thinks he wants to. See, when you want to do things right, see people that are really in for change. When they are coming in as a pastor, what they do is sack everybody because they don't know people and they don't want this one to come and be lying to them. This one is trying to save his position. Sack everybody. Pastor that needs good sound. And the same thing I face, there's a big church in Nigeria, right? Very big, one of the biggest churches in Nigeria. I was making front of house for them, right? So people that are close to me will know this church I'm talking about. I was mixing for them in front of house, and the musicians were pushing me. They're like, now it's the story now turned to something like, it's only when this guy is mixed that when the sound is good. So it's got me alighted, right? So the other engineers were hating on me, right? Because engineers will be like 7, right? We are 7 engineers. So they started hating on me because of I was good and people were saying it, right? And now you're pushing for good sound, right? but the pastor doesn't know about it. Pastor is not musically inclined, right? And he doesn't, to him, the sound is okay as far as his microphone is working. So what are we now doing? Like, why are you stressing yourself? A pastor that wants good sound and knows good things will bypass all these church admin, church this one, bypass everything. Politics, that's how to play politics. Do you understand? Bypass everything. Go straight to the this thing. Myself, I've worked under some studio managers or church managers. Just say church manager or church admin, or let's just say studio managers, right? That or mid or that are heading the whole stuff. Those people, they don't really have positions. They're just in churches. They happen to be one of the longest people in the church, and they just feel like they have power. I've worked with other people like that. And what I do most of the times, I don't report it to them. Because now you tell them something, you go and twist it. They'll be telling the pastor something else because they are trying to maintain their position. Go straight to the pastor. People will not like you, but that's what you have to do. Go straight to him. Tell him what you've observed. You understand? Tell him about the politics that's going on. Tell him everything. Do you understand? Not that do you understand? Not how to play the politics. Right? If the pastor needs something that's good, they know how to get it. So I can assure you that pastor doesn't really know what he's doing. I don't mean in that sense, but like it doesn't really mean what he wants. Someone that mean what he wants will go for what he wants, will bypass every other thing. Do you understand? To get what he wants. Big craft. The big boy I stay in Lagos. Okay, how DM me? Please your number so I can reach out. I will send a DM. So guys, I think that's all for today. I've tried this live session. It went smoothly. No network breaks. I don't know from your perspective, but I didn't see any way connecting today. So thank you guys for joining my live. If you have any other questions, I go live randomly, right? I go live randomly. I don't really have a particular time I go live. It's always random. And sometimes I might schedule some live streams and you will see it and you can join and just click notify me so when I go live to notify you. So it's all good, it's all good. Thank you guys for joining the live today. I really appreciate I really appreciate you guys for your questions and for your interactions. Um, I hope to see you guys in the next session. Thank you guys. Stay good.